Hello, my name is Xavier Mercado, and this is Spearhead Conversations. Hello, my name is Xavier Mercado, and this is Spearhead Conversations. Today, I'm joined with Aaron Biebert. Aaron Biebert is a founder of Tall Tale and Creative Northern. This Milwaukee native has a passion for people and storytelling that has led to the award-winning documentary, A Billion Lives, and even the follow-up documentary, You Don't Know Nicotine. He is also a writer and director for the hit show Show Me Milwaukee, which is currently streaming nationwide. He has been an inspiration to follow. As much as he's been a hard worker, he's a loving family man working alongside his family. I'm honored and I'm blessed he's here with me today. So with that being said, without further ado,
here we go.
How you doing, Aaron?
I'm doing good. I'm glad we got to sit down. This is going to be fun.
Oh, yeah, man. It's been a long time coming. In the months, we've been pretty busy. You with the show. Me with the podcast, and we're finally here. So
yeah.
how have you been?
Keeping busy like yourself, you know. Stoked to take some time out and just chill and chat it up.
Yeah,
be good.
All right, well let's jump into it.
Yeah, let's do it.
Where were you born?
I was born in Milwaukee.
Okay, there you go.
So that's
the first one.
True, but I didn't grow up here.
You didn't grow up here?
No, I only got to be here for about a year.
Oh,
so I was a baby.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then got on a plane and flew somewhere? Or
my dad's first job was out in Montana.
Holy.
So yeah. I was born when my dad was in graduate school, and he had an internship thing for a year. So I was in Milwaukee for a year, over by Detroit for a year, back here for 1 year, and then when I was 3, we got in a U-Haul and drove all the way to Montana and. Wild West, and that's like some of my first memories is leaving Milwaukee, which was kind of sad, but I'm back.
Well, you back?
I'm back for most of my life. I have lived in Milwaukee now. I've lived here for over 20 years. So.
Well, you're back and you're making a footnote.
Yeah, we're back. Ended up marrying a gal from Minnesota. She moved over here too, thankfully.
Oh.
The
question is she a Viking fan?
No, she's a Packer fan.
Think you're good.
Yeah, she. That's funny. Oh man. Yeah, you don't want to have any. You don't want to have any of that marital problems. Where you got that Packer Viking problem. So.
Yeah. So Montana. How do you feel to be one of 8 siblings?
Well, being the oldest one, I don't know if I felt the effects of that as much, and I'm kind of a little bit of a loudmouth, so I usually got the attention. Unfortunately, and I feel bad about some of that. The oldest kid. You got 7 younger siblings, and I don't know. They seem to have had more effects from the 8 kids than me because I was oldest one, and everything I did was the first time for the most part. But if you could imagine, being the 8th one, and it's like 8th graduation, 8th this, 8th that. I don't know how that feels. I don't know. So in some ways, I'm lucky, but I'm aware of it. So yeah.
How was the upbringing?
Good. I mean, my mom. So yeah, my mom came from. She grew up in West Bend area on a farm. My dad grew up around here too, and they're still together, and they were good. 8 kids. I don't think my dad was making that much money. So you got 8 kids on a. I don't know what. I don't even know. I didn't actually know that we were that poor. My mom did a really good job of finding good deals on local cattle and whatever out in Montana.
Yeah.
She's a Wisconsin farm girl. Moving out to Montana. But yeah, lots of good stuff. Got to pretty good variety of things growing up, sports and different arts and things like that. I remember making talk shows with a tape recorder, hitting that record button and making talk shows with my cousins that were living over here and sending tapes back and forth to each other, like podcasts kind of, So yeah, it was definitely good growing up, a lot of moving. I was only in Montana for 6 years, then moved over to the Black Hills of South Dakota and lived there for 4 years, and then moved to the Twin Cities where I did high school. Mm-hmm. And at one point, I think I did 4 schools in 3 years.
Wow.
So, yeah, because I started high school and, was transitioning all these different things. So I would say good upbringing for sure, but I definitely got some got some character built up, from some of that craziness. It changes you to have 4 schools in 3 years. I mean, and a lot of people know what that feeling is like for sure, but a lot of people don't. It's weird.
Yeah.
You got to be like making relationships quick because, you just got to. Otherwise, you're just sitting there by yourself. But I was a cowboy coming into a metropolitan
I was
suburban
just about to
grade
ask,
school.
what was the vibe like for you in that time of your life?
Not good. Yeah, I mean, I've got like big belt buckles, and I'm wearing like little string ties, and I'm like, hey, everybody.
You got the rings on the finger?
No, but it was different for sure. Yeah, it was different. Took a little bit of getting used to, and then, I think, because growing up essentially in the rural areas for a lot of my youth, living in Milwaukee, and we live right in the heart of the city. So, a lot of growing and changing, adapting, and I think it's been good.
Yeah. What type of hobbies were you into?
I think I was into too many hobbies. I was doing some work with like clay sculpture, doing sports for sure. I played college football, which was partly what brought me back to Milwaukee. Actually,
Wow.
I got recruited. Yeah, in high school I was fast back then. Yeah.
What did you play?
I was a running back. So yeah.
Oh boy, out here just Heisman.
Yeah, it was a little bit like that, and I got to play a lot in college as well, so it was good. Yeah, I played for Wisconsin Lutheran College. They had a new program. The coach had a NCAA Division I ring. Comes walking into the high school. He's like, "Hey, I want you to come to Milwaukee," and I was like, "Oh, I hadn't thought about that." But yeah, I had a good time there. My brother ended up following me, going there too. Mm-hmm. So yeah, the Biebert football fam, over there. Yeah. So it was good. It was a good time.
Who did you idolize growing up?
Jeez, I don't know. I've given a lot of thought to this kind of stuff, over the years, like mentors, like idols, and that kind of thing. I think I still struggle with that in a lot of ways. I don't know if I ever quite fully developed any sort of specific like person or as far as like an idol for sure. I think I just like too many different things. I never really got to that point where I just had this like guy I want to be like, and that is reflected in my adult life because this is also my third career, like full out career. Yeah, I was in healthcare at one point. Yeah.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. I was in real estate at one point. Yeah.
Boy, was out here selling them houses.
I was doing finance side of it, but
okay.
This is the third type of industry that I've helped develop a company inside of. Mm-hmm. So not just even worked in casually, like had companies, and this is the third one. So I'm a little bit of a, like a Peter Pan lost boy a little bit. Although for the last 11, 12 years, I've been doing this kind of stuff, storytelling. So, and I always said when I retire, I want to just like make movies and TV shows. And then after the, being a millennial graduating from college right before the big crash. I got into real estate right before the big crash in 2007.
Oh, wow.
Then I went into healthcare because I thought this will be safe. I
graduated in 2007.
Yep. So a couple of years later, but kind of just got sick of like the game, like the corporate game, like figuring out what's the best way to, make a career and stuff like that, and just decided, what, let's just do, if you want to do this when you retire because that's what you love, then just do it. So I got into that, and this whole sort of, I guess, storytelling group kind of began.
With with finding your passion, and now you said you've been quite some time with this career.
Yeah, this is the big one now.
Do you consider your creative mind a superpower?
I don't know. I think the team of people I work with is the superpower, really, because I don't know if any one person can function at a high enough level to make an impact, whether it's just even making enough money or enough attention. I don't know anymore. So I think that the team thing's a superpower, and I think relationships, and I'm not always good at it. I'm still growing a lot in that, trying to figure out a lot of that. But I would say that kind of thing is a superpower. I don't know if I have any superpowers. I think path just kind of worked out nicely. Married a genius, so that always helps. Partnered with this guy, Jimmy Jake Shaw, early, like 10 years ago. He's another brilliant genius in the storytelling world, and each of our core team members just bring something so special to it that these things, when they come out, usually are pretty notable. And that yeah. So I don't know. We're more like the Avengers, if you want to go there, or
There we go.
if you want to do a real throwback, we got Captain Planet. You know. Hey, if you want to go way back with our
that was actually my favorite show.
Yeah, I watched it. Yeah, it's more like that, I would say.
Did you ever see the parody Don Cheadle did?
No, I didn't see that one.
Look it up.
Okay.
It's of Captain Planet, but that takes me back, man.
Yeah, that's some OG stuff right there. So,
there you go.
Yeah, for all the young kids out there watching or listening, you got to go check out Captain Planet.
What led you to finding your passion in film?
Yeah, they say a lot of this stuff is born out of necessity. I think it was, the economy stuff was getting crazy, and we had this, I would say, pretty large medical company that we had started, and it was around people stuff, consulting and staffing and interim leadership, and it was going pretty well. Like, we even had an annual cruise and like crazy stuff. I think made this network. It was the dawn of social media, so we were using that to help connect hospitals with nurses and all this stuff, and it was going really well. But then slowly but surely the economy started, people coming out of retirement, and it was like, okay, less people are needing, less holes to fill and things like that. And we had a really cool marketing group as part of our company, because that's probably why I was having success. And then it was like, you know what, maybe we should just take this and sort of spin it off, because it was like probably the more notable thing that we were doing. And so, yeah, we just kind of got started doing that, doing a lot of sort of early on commercial projects. One of the more interesting projects we did is like Applebee's had a new menu launch for their whole 2,000 restaurants, and they did a live thing right in our studio. Back in the day, before we were using Periscope and some of these other live apps, like way before that kind of stuff. And then slowly it grew into, we said, we want to do meaningful work. And as much as and I don't like Applebee's food specifically, so I'm not, I'm thankful for that, and it was cool for sure, very notable. We got second runner-up Shorty Award for video of the year, and like all kinds of crazy stuff. And that was cool, and it helped move us forward, but our goal was to do bigger things. And so, we decided we were going to try doing a feature film. And we chose to do documentary work because we just thought you can in some cases make a bigger impact. Not as entertaining sometimes more entertaining, but certainly make an impact. So we dove into doing that, and that was that A Billion Lives film. And that kind of came from some of my healthcare background plus storytelling.
You created Tall Tale in 2010. What inspired that?
So Tall Tale is actually a newer rebrand of a company called Attention Era, and that was originally from a blog post I wrote where I was saying, like, the social media stuff's cool, but I think, we're leaving the information age and we're entering this new era called the attention era, where attention is going to matter more than, information. It's like people got too much of that, and you're going to have to really work hard on attention. And back then that sounded weird to people, but it slowly kind of became a thing. And then we decided to make a company for that, helping remarkable people and brands and organizations earn attention, with good storytelling. So that's kind of where that came from. And early on, we had these folks from the medical side of it, more marketing type folks. And we just kind of focused on doing short brand films and little documentaries for schools and a lot of school stuff. Yeah, we did a lot with that, and it was really cool to, we've seen a lot of people grow up all the way from when we, I remember we filmed some gal when she was like in 3rd grade, and then we ended up filming her again when she was in high school at a different thing. And we're like, what the heck? Oh man. So that's kind of where that started. Yeah.
In this duration, you've created an award-winning documentary, A Billion Lives. I want to play this little trailer.
My whole life, I've been told that smoking is bad. Smoking will kill you. Smokers deserve to die.
I smoked for 40 years.
50 years.
I'll go to my grave smoking.
I pretty much thought that smoking was a thing of the past, part of history. I was wrong.
Billion people dying from smoking-related diseases.
70% of current smokers want to quit.
You try and you fail, you try and you fail.
I was shocked when I found out that many people were using new ways to quit.
It's one of the biggest public health breakthroughs we've ever had.
E-cigarette.
Un cigarrillo que utiliza electricidad.
E-cigarette.
Kind of a savior.
Alternative to lighting up.
And that day, I stopped.
Those ways were being banned in more and more countries.
Easier to buy a cigarette than to buy an e-cigarette. That makes no sense.
Governments worldwide are the biggest shareholders in the revenue of cigarettes.
Dangers of e-cigarettes.
And the public health community is lying about those.
Chemical.
Dangerous.
Poisonous.
There's no evidence to back that up.
It was a fraud. People are going to die.
We don't know.
But we don't know.
Chocolate.
The antifreeze.
And other flavors.
What's going on?
Seized almost 1,000 shipments.
Raided my house.
Nobody wants to talk about it. The public needs to know the truth about these products.
And they need public health people telling the truth about the risks. At least 95% less risky than smoking.
Nobody cares.
It's irresponsible.
3 black SUVs.
Disruptive change.
Illegal action. Promise.
Don't let the bastards win.
I'm going to quit.
This is the battle for 1 billion lives.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah, heavy topic, huh?
yeah. How was that
Yeah.
project? What was behind this? Like, obviously, it says it in the trailer, but for you, there must have been some.
Yeah, it was you know, and a lot of people, when we said we were doing this, people were like, okay, what the heck? You know, because apparently we like to do weird things. But, you know, when I was in the medical world, I was running, one of the things I was doing during that was I was leading a long-term care facility, like 200 people lived there, you know, older folks or people who were coming out of surgery and things like that. And the guy that I originally started as a consultant there, but the guy who was running it ended up getting lung cancer, and I had to take over. And then, you know, we were kind of collaborating while he was kind of going through treatment, and he ended up dying. And it was, and he kept smoking the whole way through, you know, even though he was dying from lung cancer. And I went on this big thing. All right, we're banning smoking everywhere. We'll buy some gum for people. We'll, you know, and this is kind of weird, but I was about 25 at this time. So
Yeah.
I don't know what, you know, people are like, how old are you? What are you doing? You know, like, and that's true. It was interesting. But, you know, that kind of stuck with me a little bit, you know, and I don't think I handled that super well, that situation with people, you know, with the way I handled trying to help people quit smoking. And so when we were considering what should we do for a feature film, a documentary, this topic kind of came up because I was being a little bit of a douchebag when people were talking about these vapor devices.
Yeah.
And, you know, okay, well, it's like a hipster way to smoke, or, you know, like I had the smart aleck comments and things like that. And, you know, because I didn't want people to die from smoking, you know, because I had seen it and it affected me, and I knew, you know, that was an issue. But then when I realized, I was like, you know, I started to, you know, there's more doing a little bit of research saying, okay, when I found out 1 billion people were projected to die this century from smoking, I was like, oh, well, you don't see a lot of documentaries about that. You see a lot about food. You see a lot about politics. You see a lot about, but this will be a weird one. You know, hey, it might stick out. It's our first feature film. Let's dive into this. And, you know, learned a lot. And it was, kind of humbled a lot because I didn't know a lot about what I was talking about originally. And then when we started talking to, you know, some of these, I mean, like the former executive director of the World Health Organization, the former executive director of the World Medical Association, like all these, I mean, these are, I generally try to find the real experts, the best experts. Yeah. And
That's your proof.
Yeah, the guy, you know, I mean, like legitimate, some pioneers and all kinds of stuff were in that film. And it did pretty well, yeah. We it was in theaters in 7 different countries. It was winning awards. Great community built up around that. Tons of people who had quit smoking, but felt like the way that they had been treated wasn't good, you know. And it was a lot more than just about. It wasn't about quit smoking, because everybody knows that. That wasn't what it was about. It was mainly about why aren't people quitting? There's a lot of good reasons for that, and why is there, you know, a lot. It was mainly a corruption film in a lot of ways, which is kind of crazy to get involved with on your first film, you know, dealing with $1 trillion industries, you know, like you starting to, so yeah, it felt kind of risky, kind of exciting, kind of crazy. Met a lot of really caring people all over the world. And, we ended up following that film up 3 years later with another film, You Don't Know Nicotine, because...
I was about to, I was going to get into that.
Yeah.
But no, because how adamant you've been, and just in talking about the first film, you did follow up with You Know Nicotine.
Yeah, You Don't Know Nicotine. That was the name of that film. And we followed that one up, did a big Kickstarter for it. And it was quite the adventure.
Yeah. For those that don't know what this movie is about, this is the follow-up.
People just kept on using it as kind of a substitute.
And no one knew the consequences?
Teens are already dealing with so much.
Panic has ensued.
As of today, we're declaring a war on vaping.
He lost his captainship and was suspended.
As we began this project, a massive wave of nicotine headlines swept across many parts of the world. The headlines were alarming.
This is an epidemic.
Total crisis.
They don't know what to do.
So we went on the hunt for truth. Smoking cigarettes is on the rise worldwide. The main reason is nicotine. We had this unsettling feeling that there was something deeper here. People generally know the dangers of smoking, but we wanted to know the dangers of nicotine itself. And why do so many people want to use it? Let's start at the beginning.
Nicotine is a long story.
But what's going on in the brain? It's only in about the past, 10 or 15 years, we're finally getting a more clear picture.
New campaigns were launching in the U.S. to respond to the growing use of nicotine by young people. We wanted to learn about this new crisis from the people on the front lines. Social media was full of nasty arguments and half-truths, both for and against nicotine.
This is more emotional than scientific.
Prosecute them criminally.
Nicotine, I better move fast.
What do you know about nicotine?
I know it's not very good for your health.
It ruins you.
It's in cigarettes and it's not healthy.
It's like you get your life back.
Nicotinic system.
Nicotine.
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 Nicotine. Nicotine is a game changer.
At first, we were angry. Then we were sad. The truth became unbelievable.
Man. It's
deep. It's painful it is interesting to listen to that. That's very authentic feelings in that. But that was a follow-up because I realized we didn't quite cover enough in the first film.
Yeah.
It was a bit more one-sided than I would have liked. A lot of people, it was our first time, and a lot of people just said no, they didn't want to do any interviews about the topic, and we're confused by that. And that's part of what alarmed us, was well, why don't all these people want to talk about this? Anti-smoking people didn't want to talk to us about a movie about 1 billion people dying early from smoking. And so, this one we ended up a little bit softer, a little bit more balanced, a little bit more shocking, actually, as weird as that sounds.
Yeah.
A lot of interesting reasons why people do use nicotine, and a lot of, the University of Wisconsin, even, for instance, is in the middle of a study. I guess they don't know the results 100%, but they had a study showing nicotine helps reduce pre-Alzheimer's stuff.
Wow.
Yeah, so they're using patches for that. So
I came from an era where it was fine to smoke in-house, fine to smoke while you drive with the windows, and
they got the cigarette lighters right in the car for you. Yep.
And through that, through time you get older and you start learning what truly harms you, your body, and that's one of those topics that
it's a tough one. And it turns out it's the smoke itself. That's what harms
the
you.
Secondhand,
or any smoke in general. And even people who used to cook over just open fires all the time would get lung cancer too, and that kind of stuff. But smoke itself is the problem, but that's that's too complicated to say for some people apparently. So they kind of turned it into this nicotine thing, which is a plant extract, and we found a lot of very interesting things in there, and why people use nicotine. I've had a new appreciation for people who use nicotine. I would just urge that they try to switch from cigarettes, because those are deadly. That's a fact. There's not for everyone, obviously. There's plenty of 90-year-olds who smoke their whole life, but that's, in general, it's not something that's real safe. But nicotine itself was fascinating.
Well, I stopped drinking over a year ago, and I was what you'd call a sociable smoker.
Yeah.
You drink, and it's kind of a habit. You want one, and when you're out, you're having fun. You ain't thinking about it. But since I've quit drinking, that has gone away. And
and that makes sense to me because nicotine is sort of like this natural focus thing.
Yeah.
So when you're drinking, you're losing focus, and a lot of people wanted to get it back. So cigarettes, and again, not promoting cigarettes. That's definitely not a good thing. But that would make sense why you'd want nicotine less because you weren't. It's essentially nicotine seems to show up wherever people are under duress.
I'll tell you you can tell the difference from coming out of it. It's
congratulations. That's a big life thing to be more healthy, and it inspired me to 2019 making this movie inspired me to make a lot of changes in my own life too. I think about 60 pounds lighter than I was back then. As weird as that sounds.
Well, it's an inspiration, those projects you put together, and really gives information for the people to realize what you're basically consuming into your body. You should
know what you're doing.
You should heed. Take
and
heed.
And people should I would think the message of that second one was even more so be careful what you tell people because you can actually do more harm than good if you don't know what you're talking about. And so the movie really tries to establish what is the deal with nicotine and help people be a little bit more thoughtful about the way they talk about that. And so much shaming goes on. It's really a anti-shaming movie. It's an anti-science movie. It's a anti-propaganda movie. It's a lot more than just about nicotine. But
it's just knowledge, dropping that knowledge base for people to understand. And there's nothing wrong with that,
Yeah. And it's not for everybody. Not everybody gives a rip about it, but there's a lot of people who are affected by it, and I think we wanted to just help people have a clearer, better conversation about it.
Well, thank you for caring.
Yeah, I mean I don't know. Sometimes I think that's it's like an Achilles heel if it gets my heart, But
it's all good. Well, with these projects, this isn't the only place where your success takes you. You actually right now. A show that's currently airing is Show Me Milwaukee.
Yeah, very stoked.
Let me play it.
What's going on, Milwaukee? I'm Greg Adams. As a primetime radio DJ, I want to use my voice to shine a light on people, places, and vibes that make Milwaukee so special.
What? This is a whole science thing.
A few of our notable neighbors are joining me as my guide.
Onward, Captain. Filet. We racing.
Doing good.
Gotta love Milwaukee.
It's time for them.
You ready?
To Show Me Milwaukee. Stream for free only on Very Local.
Man.
Hey, Milwaukee.
Can you talk about the goosebumps I got when I first seen that trailer?
I think I watched it 200 times. And our team was making this trailer, and partly it had to come out before all the shows were ready. So there's a lot of hustle, a huge team effort to try to get this all put together quickly before it was time to promote it while the episodes were still being edited. And I think I watched it 100 times. I'm like, I've always tried to include Milwaukee. You'll see shots of Milwaukee in a lot of our work, even international work. We gotta shout out the hometown. But making a thing. I mean, in 2020 we said we want to start focusing on we want to try to help out around here. We've had enough experience. We've learned a lot. We've met a lot of people. We have good connections. How can we help make Milwaukee even better? We thought Milwaukee was great. It's always been a wonderful base of operations, creatively, tons of inspiration around here, tons of amazing chefs and artists, and everywhere you look, there's really, but it did seem like it was missing something. And I think it was self-esteem, really. It seemed like Milwaukee is the biggest flaw of Milwaukee is that it doesn't respect itself.
Yeah.
I think that's a major flaw. And thankfully it can be fixed. But people got to start telling each other stories. They got to start caring. They got to know each other, know neighbor. 2020 was a big wake-up call for a lot of cities. So thankfully, we'd had some wake-up calls for the last 30 years on how we weren't necessarily doing things the right way. And so we got through that, but yet nevertheless, there was a lot more work to be done. And so this network called us. They want us to make a show. They said we could make it about Milwaukee, and we're like, well, that is exactly, this Creative Northern thing we just started. We wanted to bring high quality productions here to the city, not just do all this international stuff, but get things done here. And so this show just presented itself, and we collaborated with Greg Adams, who's the host of that.
Yeah.
And it's been great. It's been special.
Like I said, me being a content creator in the area, and the message you're trying to get across kind of co-aligns with mine, if not, and it's shedding a light to how great our city is. I love our city. I love summer times, even spring, fall. A lot of people say they can move to other places where it's heat all year round, or even you got those people that prefer the cold, but I don't think I can ever move from here and stay away.
No, I can visit.
The season
when it's like negative 40 wind chill, I can go to Florida for a week. That's fine. I could survive that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean,
I'm the type that sleeps with a fan on and the window open. I can't do that no more because I got a 2-year-old. So Arlo, I just need you to know, Daddy has made a lot of sacrifices for you.
Daddy is boiling right now for you. Yeah. Well, I was generally a warmer guy too, and I like the north. I like the winter. I don't like how I feel sometimes during the winter, but I like what the winter does to us.
Yeah.
That's you earn the summer and fall. And springs, I don't know where. Sometimes we don't have spring. It just goes right into summer. Which I'm not even mad about that. We'll just have summer early or whatever, but I mean, definitely having that variety that's made this city with more character, I think. A city that has to go through that together, essentially it should be a bonding experience, and it is oftentimes. And you see neighbors helping neighbors dig out and do this. It's a survival thing in some ways, like we're surviving winter together, because it's not, not natural to live in negative 40 degrees outside, and, people are working together, and, it kind of gives us a little bit of hardier character, a little bit more, a little bit more care, I think. That's why the North is a little bit different than other places. So.
Speaking about that, with your hands being tied in all these projects, was it 2021?
2020, yeah.
2020.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep, the bad year. That was the year we said, hey, let's go.
You created the Creative Northern.
Yeah, we launched this thing called Creative Northern.
Yeah, let's hear it.
In the North, we are no strangers to winter.
Those that came before us, they learned to tell powerful stories during those times.
It's in our blood.
We are born to see through the tough times.
To give our neighbors a hand.
And to find unique, creative ways to get things done.
Unique, creative ways to tell our stories.
Winter changes you.
It shapes you.
No matter where in the world our work has taken us, those lessons come with us.
And they have always brought us back home.
To bring their stories to the world, some thought they had to leave.
To move to the coasts.
But creatives like us, we decided to stay.
And we know we are not alone.
We know that the same fire in which we forged our creativity is burning all around our city.
Around our region.
Creatives who see the world differently.
Who hear the world differently.
Who feel differently.
They are here.
And we believe that now is the time to gather.
The time to come together.
The time to say that people are a priority.
The time to create inspirational work sustainably.
Equitably.
It's time for the world to recognize this region for what it truly is.
The Creative North.
The Creative North.
The Creative North.
The Creative North.
We each have our own unique perspective.
And that perspective is the lens.
Our lens.
Your lens.
With which we all try to make sense of the world.
The beauty.
The pain.
And everything between.
Inspired by those who came before, we are choosing to journey into the unknown to tell those stories.
And we want you to join us.
Now is the time.
Now is the time.
Now is the time to create new legends of the North.
I just want to say, being a content creator, everything that video, there's times where I don't feel what I'm doing is making much of an impact. But to see a like that what you did with that is the type of thing that gives me the motivation to say, no, you keep your head up and you push through. That inspired me so much when you sent that to me, you know. And I did get.
Well, that was part of the point, you know. We wanted
I did get emotional over it because it's like, it's so powerful.
Thank you. Yeah, and I like I was saying with that self-esteem thing, like it is a community problem, and the only way to fix it really is connect us and uplift, you know. And people got to do that, and yeah, everyone doing all their really amazing stuff, which this city is full of, and compared to other cities, I think per capita we have more cool stuff going on than a lot of cities. I know most people won't believe that, but I have definitely seen a lot of creative communities around the world, and this is one of the best. But they don't know it. They feel alone. They don't feel supported. A lot of people in the community don't know how to support creative projects.
Yeah.
They don't know. They're too busy watching Netflix or, you know, eating at Applebee's.
Yeah.
Or something like that. Like, and of course there's tons of good people too who are definitely caring about that. But by and large, you know, a city needs to care about the work being done in the city, and they have to support it. And I think there is a lot of that, but there's a lot more work to be done on that. Yeah. And so we wanted to, you know, Creative Northern was a way to help rally the different, you know, have been doing a lot with music production, a lot with film production, a lot with video production, photography, graphics, art. A lot of those things were being done, and we just kind of try to put them together, create a little bit of a network of people that they could feel more connected. And the work is ongoing. Like you said, it's hard to bring people together. A lot of people.
I will answer the call.
Yeah, no doubt. And it's awesome that we're sitting here in the studio, you know, essentially the Tall Tale and Creative Northern studio, and doing this because this is the heart of it. This is the heart of, I mean, the meeting and the togetherness, as well as, you know, that show Me Milwaukee show. Like that was great because, you know, you got to do this sort of super extended, you know, long form. I mean, it's 4 hours so far of stuff just about Milwaukee, and they were running billboards. The network's running billboards all over the city, 30-some billboards, and running ads.
I saw it on the highway.
Yeah, people. I mean, like, so.
Well, that's what caught my attention. You know, it was that Show Me Milwaukee, and that's when I was like, yes. Like, how can I not? You know, I'm doing this podcast based on Milwaukee. How am I not going to reach out to someone who's really, you know, doing their best to bring light to the city?
Trying,
and it was like, yes.
Yeah, and that was so fun when you reached out, and I you know, because I'm always encouraged when people try to help other people. You know, and that's a hard thing to do. I'm convinced our city won't fully heal or won't fully get to where it can be until people start more. I guess I always got to be careful because there's always great people, but you know, until more people decide they would rather take the risk of potentially giving more than they get. That's risky to some people, but you have to like take the risk so that the tide is rising for all the boats, but everybody's got to pour their water out first.
I will tell you this. I do look up to you. I am inspired by the work that you do, and I feel honored that you know what I mean?
I feel honored. Heck, man, you inspire me.
Yeah, we've been creating this relationship over the past couple months. And
hey, and you helped with Show Me Milwaukee, helping line up some of that stuff.
Yeah, man.
Episode 6, man. Yeah.
Man, Sabor Tropical.
Yeah,
you know?
Without you, it would go into brunch there. I mean, that, and like then making that connection with Hector, like that food too.
It was awesome. I loved the episode, by the way.
Yeah.
I was like,
we wouldn't have been able to put that all together. You help connect the dots. And so when more people are doing that, but that's a sacrifice.
Yeah,
it's a sacrifice about the team. Of time, right?
Like you said, the Avengers. I mean, just, you know, like the way you said that in the beginning of the interview. It's like that. What I'm trying to do here is what you're trying to do. Inspire everyone to come together and just, you know, I always say this. The Milwaukee Bucks was the first time the nation got to see us really come together.
Yeah,
all those people down at the Deer District just loving each other and in living in that moment and cherishing just being that we were a part of history and just a time to be alive.
Yep.
So
it was a good time, and I know Jenny and I were right there in the middle of that crowd. It was
I went to Game 3. My wife surprised me.
Yeah. There you go.
But
that's
it
wonderful.
was awesome.
Yeah, and we can have many more of those moments. And I know there's been many versions of that. I know, and that's why I want to make sure I recognize like all the good things that do happen too, because I don't want to be, always making it sound like nobody cares. I don't think that's true. I just think we need more people to, and a lot of them do care. They just don't know what to do with their care. Like they just, give a thumb up or something, or they, and there's a little more action will make a huge impact on people. And I know when we had our first movie premiere here at the Pabst Theater, we sold that thing out and people were going crazy. It was so much fun, but people were celebrating, film in Milwaukee. It was like one of the largest, most attended movie premieres in the whole world that year. Yeah.
Man.
So, I mean, that was Milwaukee, now granted not as big, but if we just keep, and tons of people doing great things, I know it was fun having Adam Pollock, Chef Adam.
Yeah, that was an awesome episode.
In our first episode. And, I always respected that, when he said, where'd you learn to cook like that? And he just said Milwaukee. Or who taught you to cook like that or something? And he just says, Milwaukee. He's like crying. And I mean, there's tons of great people around here. We just need to know each other and we need to find each other. Because I did try other things where I tried to help lift up people who didn't want to do the work.
Yeah.
That's a problem I've run into over the years at times, and myself even. Sometimes I gotta lift myself up when I don't want to do the work. But that's been an issue. But there's tons of great people who are doing it that are intrinsically motivated, who just want to do the work. But I think in their fear of being taken advantage of or something like that, a lot of people are doing a lot of independent projects. Mm-hmm. And we need to find ways to collaborate more. People need to bring, collaborate.
Just drop that wall.
Drop the wall. And I know I've been accused of that, and rightly so. And I took the ownership of that. Yeah. 2017, 18, 19, we were trying to explore how do we help make more connections, because we got all these movie cameras and all this stuff. We got studios. And people were telling me, friends that I was starting to make, they're like, yeah, well, when people see what you're doing, they feel like they're not welcome. Mm-hmm. Like, and I own that, because they're like, you're always off doing things, but you're never like.
Well, that's growth. I mean,
so that's why 2020. That's why Creative Northern. We're like, all right, we have to take action, even though this would be the weirdest time in the history of the world, practically, to try to start a new thing like this. Mm-hmm. Shutting down concerts, movie premieres are getting canceled like crazy. We're like, let's go, let's give it all we got, But more people are doing that too now.
Well, like I said, it's inspiring, and I definitely believe in everything you're doing. So if there's one thing I can say, you've stepped in the right direction, and, hopefully we together can, build something special for the city of Milwaukee. Because I will tell you this, in the future of even beyond this interview, I like to collaborate and make something
we're going to be
work.
This is wonderful. Like, some of your guests are going to have to end up on the show, and some of the people on our show definitely should come and do a podcast with you.
Hey, man, I'd appreciate it. I'm down for that. Man, anything to get Milwaukee out.
Yeah.
But in this line of work, you travel a lot.
Yeah. And a lot of traveling. Too much.
One thing you're a family man.
I try to be. I mean, as much as anyone can, I guess. It's hard.
Tell the world about your recovery fort you built for your children.
How you heard about that? Yeah. I think it was when we were making the first film, A Billion Lives. My kids had to have their tonsils and their adenoids or whatever it was out. Yeah. And they had surgery together, and then they had to recover at home for a while. It's pretty painful, weird thing.
Oh yeah,
your
for sure.
Throat's being cut
my
open.
Sister.
Yeah. And I had to go to an interview somewhere. I don't even know where, far away. But the night before, we had a lot of boxes from some of the gear that we had ordered for the film, and I made like 20-foot high wall. One of the I gotta describe this without sounding too crazy. But
I saw the picture, by the way.
Oh, you saw the picture? Yeah, built a house inside of the house in the living room, and made their own little their own house, so they could with chairs and recovery. And Jenny, my wife and partner, she was kind of helping take care of that house, and they were all I don't know, just give them a little something to excite, a little bit of a stoke, and you're kind of feeling down. You got all this
could have been one of your careers of building forts. I just want to say, at that, it was pretty.
Originally I was gonna be in architecture. I wanted to be in some sort of creative business. So architecture so I had to try. Every once in a while I try to be an architect still.
Yeah.
that was one of my my attempts.
Well, man, I don't know what part of the world you have to go to, but you also rodeo with sheep.
Oh, geez. Oh, man. I was just talking about this during Christmas with the fam. Yeah, well, that was in Montana. My mom, I guess.
Good old Montana.
We were visiting somebody who had a little ranch, and my mom was talking to the gal inside. My dad was outside, and I think the guy who owned the sheep, I think. And my sister and I, they decided to let it, like, you can ride the sheep. And I was like, we can ride the sheep, you know.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, yeah, I'll do it. So we had a little, because you just hold on to their fur and they buck.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, and I was, a young kid. So here I am, like, riding the sheep, like a rodeo guy. So, yeah, lots of interesting experiences. Yeah, that was just in Montana, though. Not too far, although some of our travels have taken us quite far. Yeah, one time I flew, 50 hours and 3 days or something dumb like that, which I don't even know if that's possible. Yeah, my face was melting. Like, it was weird. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, some weird stuff. Yeah, it was like Chicago to San Francisco to Singapore to New York to Chicago or something crazy like that. And oh man, my body was breaking. Yeah.
Last one. What type of insects have you eaten?
Insects.
In your travels?
Oh, there you go. Now we're getting good. Certainly in South Africa, like one of the signature dishes in the, I think, Johannesburg region, and it might be the whole country. I don't want to overassume, but they have sort of caterpillars.
Yeah.
And they fry them up and put them in some sauce. And
did it taste good?
Those. I didn't think it tasted bad. It's a texture thing for sure, because you got you're crunching down. There's 1,000 legs on each of these things, and they're just kind of like in your mouth. Legs are all over in your mouth. And I did, I wasn't, you say I'm a family man. I don't know if I'm always a good one, though, because I was live streaming this. My kids were eating it. Everyone's eating it. And, I had seconds. I think Frederick had seconds. I think the rest were smarter. They just decided, I don't need more legs in my mouth. And but, yeah, I don't know, a lot of little insects. I enjoyed, the traveling thing, that's been really important for me to kind of understand more of this concept of, humans are humans.
Yeah.
And I guess everyone kind of would say that, obviously, right? Mm-hmm. But then when you see so many different cultures all over the world, from the mountains in Peru to Armenia to India and all these, all over, I think 50 some countries we were filming in, and you see that people for the most part want the same things. They care about the same things. They don't always eat the same things, and that's fine. But it's been life-changing in a lot of ways to understand that, and even see that in Milwaukee too. We don't have the
cultural, yeah.
Yeah, and understanding it, even being eager to learn about other people's cultures versus afraid of it, because somehow it might be, I don't know, and there's a lot of interesting things that happen with humans, but it's been,
you just have to be open-minded and just dare to step forward. And
try things out, and be eager to try and
do you like traveling?
I don't know.
That's the real question.
I get a little burned out on it, and I know that sounds crazy, and I'm super thankful for all those opportunities. So it's not meant to do that, but traveling is hard, and thankfully I work with my wife, and my kids have been interning for a long time, and it was a great joy to make. A lot of this stuff was in a lot of ways with them, but not always, and that stuff's hard, because I think the relationships should be number one thing. They're the most valuable thing in my life. And I don't know if I always was able to take care of them as much as I could because I was gone, and even local relationships. A lot of people thought I left.
Well, that brings me to my next question. You're married and you're a father of two.
Yep.
So and you've kind of answered a little bit, but what does it mean to you to be that?
Well, I think it's an opportunity, in some ways, people always want everything to be better, but, when you have a family, you get a chance to impact somebody really closely, and so, and be supported too. I think for me, it means I'm not alone ever, which is nice. I'm super blessed in that way. I know that's not always the same for everyone. They don't always feel that way, but, I do feel that way. I think it gives me hope for the future in a lot of ways. Kids can offer that because, you get a chance to tell them, oh, you screwed up. I've made a lot of dumb mistakes in my life, and you try to hopefully help improve the world in that way too. Generations matter. The next generation is going to shape this world, and I get to at least impact two people.
I have 4, and my oldest, we bump heads, but she's 13, so she's at that age of like, forget me, you don't matter, and we bump heads because it's like I've been exposed to so much. I've seen the highs, I've seen the lows. I know what it feels like to be homeless. I know what it feels like to, have something, but trying to get that across to a 13-year-old isn't. I guess what she's teaching me is patience, and just patience, because it's tough. It's real tough.
It's a hard time, and the more with these films studying brains and just human development from all the way back in college, it's a tough age. I think like that. I think these early teenagers are hard. So it's like I hope for more research about it. I hope for more people to understand like what's going on inside of themselves. Because it's miserable. When you're miserable, you're miserable, and then it teaches their dad's patience when they're miserable.
Well, it stems off of you saying like this is our next generation, and these are who's gonna carry on, your legacy. That really what it goes to like.
It's hard.
Yeah, fatherhood is hard, but
thing.
I will say, even with my wife, even the way you cherish yours, you've said it throughout the interview, and that's the one thing I love about you. Like throughout getting to know you, I can tell the relationship you have with your family is great, and it's awesome. And I understand
most of the time.
Behind the
I
scenes,
screw things up a lot too.
Yeah.
I get a little too excited sometimes about things, and sometimes a negative way.
But that goes with my family too. We have our highs, we have our lows, but at the end of the day, we love each other. Like, right now I'm thinking about like just being next to my wife, being in the living room, watching a movie or one of our shows. But you gotta love that, dude. Throughout doing the work you do, you still got family.
Yeah, companionship. That's a big, that's a life changer.
So, how has Milwaukee attributed to your success?
Well, I think it helped me grow up. I didn't have any roots really growing up. And moved here for college, and then a couple of years later married Jenny. We moved in. We've been living in the same house for I think almost 18 years now. Near 20th and Vliet.
Well,
so
bless you for that. Yeah. I mean, it's a home is home.
And we've, right on the edge of the downtown type stuff and the more of the center of the city. We've met a lot of people. We've learned things that we never would have learned about ourselves, about each other, about opened our eyes a lot. Milwaukee has opened my eyes of what's possible, what's broken. I mean, a lot of things, the good and the bad, and I'm very thankful for that because, sometimes cities are a little bit more focused on, just faking it till you make it. If anything, this city's faking that it's not great, which is funny, I guess, in some ways. But definitely, and this is a place people can live.
Yeah,
like you can live, you can afford to live here, you can afford to be, try new things here. You don't have to wait 6 months to get a table at some interesting restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
You can. Yeah,
there's so much to do.
This is unbelievable. I mean, this is and people think I'm just BSing or something for some reason.
Not at all.
No. I have been to almost every major city in the world, and some are more fancy in some ways, some are more rich, some are more whatever. But there's very few cities that have this kind of heart, culture, character, and creative talent.
Yeah.
But creative talent comes from hardship.
Yeah.
And so the city has given me plenty of hardship. I know. It hasn't always been easy. Some of the things I was talking about earlier. I mean, we've had our power shut off. We've done all kinds. I mean, we've been right there with everyone, and sometimes I, still feel like that almost.
I feel like Milwaukee. One thing it's taught me is just to appreciate what you have, because at any given time that can be taken away.
Yeah.
And we grow. I've said that previous times, but it's growth. And I gotta love Milwaukee for it, because if I didn't grow up in Milwaukee, I wouldn't be the person I am now.
Right. Well, and
person who you are. Yeah.
Well, and that's something, and that's why we gotta, people should show at least a minimal level of respect to their home city, because it is what they are. If they don't like themselves, that's understandable why they might not like their city. But
one of the only cities that you can, hey neighbor.
Yeah,
Walk up to someone. You go to New York, man, and you look at someone the wrong way. They're gonna. It's
Right,
It's
almost-
different.
or like in Moscow, where if you smile at somebody, that they like think you're like, I've seen. I mean, a lot of
Yeah.
cultures out there, but Milwaukee is very warm. It's definitely not a small city. It's I mean, one of the big. I mean, it's bigger than a lot of the bigger cities people think about in Europe. Like people don't realize how big Milwaukee actually is, but it's still small enough where you run into people that you know sometimes. And that's a good thing. It reminds you that you're not alone in a big sea, but it's big enough that you can swim around if you need on your own. But yeah, it's definitely changed me in so many ways.
Through your creative ventures, has your original team stayed intact?
Well, I would say, I mean, it's tricky because the creative world has got a lot of different elements to it. So I would say, certainly Jenny and I are still together, thankfully. Jimmy Jake Shaw, who's like cinematographer and sort of like a post-production master, with coloring and visual effects and all of that kind of stuff. We're all still together, and then we go through times where we scale up into bigger things. But yeah, a lot of the people, many years of, musicians and things still connected with a lot of those guys. Yeah, I'd say a lot of it's together. I'd say a lot changed in 2020, though. A lot of people just kind of broke, and some people, moved and things. Not as much on our team, but, you definitely saw a lot of things hurting. So, but our core team, still together, still making films, still making TV shows now. Yeah.
So we've had quite the conversation.
Yeah, it's been good.
But your overall work, what does that mean to you?
Yeah, that's a good question.
And why is it so important to you?
I guess first of all, like work is just a great thing because it gives you, it gives you income. So that's always nice, and I'm thankful for that.
That's true.
And generally, it has, sometimes I feel like I'm not making income because I'm doing some weird stuff or whatever. But by and large, that's the basic answer. But I think deep down, what I've learned is if I don't think it's going to make an impact, I don't usually find that I do as good at something or keep doing it. So I think for me, it's given me an outlet for things I care about. Storytelling. I mean, of course, there's huge amounts of power in the editing suite. There's huge amounts of power when you're directing or writing things because you get to pick and choose what things get seen.
Yeah.
And taking that super seriously, taking that to heart, and trying to find a variety of voices and characters and highlighting the things that are missing. It gives me a chance to hopefully make some impact, to some degree. And of course, you never know till many years down the road what kind of impacts you're making. But I think that's what the work means for me, that I can show care and respect in the best way that I can.
Yeah. Man, like that. I'm not at the spot where I'm making money yet, and that's not really the purpose of why I'm doing this. But a goal of mine is through the work that I'm doing, I hope that one day I can step away from a 9-to-5 and actually pursue this to try and make an impact.
Yeah. And I think you're doing it the smart way, honestly. Like way too many people in my experience have just kind of tried to pretend.
No.
The fact that you talk openly about it, like we need to creative people know, like you won't make money at first.
Yeah.
You need to have a job that pays so that you can reduce stress to do your best creative work. And that's a message that needs to get out. You don't want to be the first, so that's really wise. You're a wise guy.
It goes all in the journey. That's what gives to the journey. This isn't easy. There's times where I'm doing, in creating this, where a lot of my attention went to putting these interviews together, the questions, at doing the actual interviews, and it put strain on the relationship with me and my wife. But to say that, the support my wife has given me, it makes me believe that what I'm doing is it has a purpose. So, let me tell anyone, like, you have to work. I mean, I still have to put a roof over my head. I still got a family.
You got to do it.
But at the end of the day, until it takes off, this is reality, and that's the life. I love what I'm doing, and I hope one day it takes that, through consistency, takes that step up. But for right now, it is.
Yeah, and I hope everyone listening and watching is take that sort of message to heart, because as simple as sharing things and watching them and actually commenting, caring, giving more love to things like your podcast ultimately helps it gain more momentum, and then sponsors and things like that. So yeah, everybody can play a role. I mean, it's every view matters. We learned this with this network and this television show. Like, they're tracking how long people even watch. Like, watching a whole episode, that matters. Like, not just getting distracted in the middle of it and shutting it off. Like, that
just
matters too.
It,
like, and the same with podcasts, and things like that. Like, people have an opportunity to change lives in that way. And I'm definitely gonna be urging people to pay more attention to what you're doing, because.
And then same. Believe me, I tell everyone about.
Yeah,
the
well,
show,
you're very kind.
Hey, man, I just want to see people succeed in this city, and if we can make it better, let's make it better together.
Yeah, and it's gonna take everyone to do it.
Where do you see Tall Tale and Creative Northern in 5?
Yeah, Tall Tale. Yeah, that
I
don't know.
We're 5 because
5's reasonable. I mean, so the Creative Northern thing is just gonna continue to. I think we're gonna. That's really more of a. I mean, that's a public benefit corporation, so it's designed almost more like a nonprofit. That one is so hard to know what things will be like. It depends who we run into, how those things are supported. They're almost never for profit. They almost never make money. So in a lot of ways, the Tall Tale stuff's the only way that stuff continues. So, but Tall Tale, yeah, I think we're liking this sort of longer series type thing. It's we're really liking that, because we've primarily done 95-minute documentary type things for theaters, and that's cool. But it seems like definitely more series type based work has been. I don't know. You get to do more things, talk to more people, get things, and I think we're going to continue to grow our relationship with television networks or streaming services. And it really helped that Show Me Milwaukee debuted at #1 on their whole network and beat out like others. I mean, that's good.
It's still big.
Really happy about that, because I don't know what I think I would have just been. Our last big project, was premiered in 2020. We had the Riverside booked up, and then we had to cancel that. So feels really good to have a little bit of a W
to
after
get back on
2020.
The boat.
Yeah, because you don't. I mean, we don't do that many big projects every month. It's like these things got to build up. So, yeah, I think Tall Tale. We're going to continue to get better at what we're doing. We're going to continue to make more relationships, tell more stories, and more streaming stuff. I think we'll end up doing more of that.
What type of legacy you trying to leave behind?
I think I would just like to have a legacy of love. Yeah, as weird as that sounds, it sounds kind of dumb, and I know it, but it's the truth.
It's the heart right here.
Yeah, I mean, I got kind of things. I got sort of a spiritual side growing in me, and over years I kind of went from more of a business minded guy to more of a people minded guy, and it's weird to talk about, and I don't normally talk about it, but yeah, I think I'd like people to say I'm weird, like, why did he do that? Why did he keep businesses running in 2020 that didn't make sense financially? Or why does he talk about people who are vaping nicotine? Why does he try to help them? Why does he care about Milwaukee? It's why didn't he move to LA or New York like people thought he should? Why did he do weird things? And I hope my legacy is being weird, and I hope people know, go deeper into that, and why is he so weird? That'd be my legacy, I'd hope.
Well, you're inspiring.
A legacy of weirdos. That's what I'd like.
Inspiring weirdos. What advice would you give to aspiring creators?
Yeah, that's a good one. And I've tried to do a lot of that over the years. The biggest one is you gotta show up. You just gotta. It sounds so simple, but the biggest heartaches I've had are people who have opportunities and people around them who care, who can teach, but they don't show up. Like, they don't show up on time, they don't show up at all, or they don't show up with their heart. And I know some of that stuff's because they're hurting in other ways. Like, I get that.
Yeah.
But it's tricky because so much is built on relationships and professionalism, and that's the thing that we've really struggled with. How do you get more people involved because if you aren't businesses, any business or any creative who is having success needs to maintain their level of quality, if not get better.
Yeah.
And teaching is hard work, so when someone's willing to teach, you got to show up. And I know there's a lot of people, so younger, newer creatives, connect with people who are doing things, show up, work hard. The studio system that for television and film has a lot of production assistant jobs and things like that where, yeah, you don't get to write home to mom that you made a movie, but you got to be on set and you got to work hard, you got paid, and you got to learn the craft. But it takes time to learn the craft. Yeah, I mean, we're still learning the craft. Sometimes I look at some of our work and I'm like, what the heck were we doing? So it's not setting the expectations properly and really like, not next year you're going to do this or that, like 5 years, 10 years. But how do you get to that point? And it's almost always going to be hard work and relationships. Maintaining those, that'd be my second thing, is like make real relationships. Don't just, get off of Instagram and Facebook and TikTok and all that. Don't just spend all your time doing that stuff. Like get out, meet people, do things with people, work with people. And that's why some of those sort of apprentice type jobs or internships are so key, because you build relationships. But often I don't think people think about it that way. They just think it's like something to put on the resume. But most people I know don't care about resumes. They don't do anything with resumes. They only care about who do you know and how do you know it. Yeah.
So. I mean, man.
I don't know if that's helpful or not.
I know it's more than helpful.
Work hard. Yeah.
Work
hard and connect with others.
Yeah.
That'll change your whole life. Creatives.
Because honestly, I love the city, but we got to do more, and we got to be open to we got to be open to living outside the box. And I hate to say a lot of the people I knew growing up, they want to be contained to one aspect and they don't want to grow. And I mean, the biggest thing with me in this past year with the changes I've been through, it's been consistency. So, that would be my advice. Like,
and that's kind of the showing up thing. I would say consistency goes right with that, because it's not about showing up once.
Yeah, you got
doing it every day and set the expectations further out.
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of people get broken. Like in the first year, I didn't make a movie or something. And that's understandable why people would be excited to do big things, but these things always take forever, and that needs to be understood on day one. So consistency is the key. Keep moving forward one step at a time. No one's making it, in one day. That's always the stories you hear, but it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's 10,000 steps. So keep taking them every day. Take those steps.
Yeah. All right, man. Well, Aaron, I appreciate you, man. This is yes.
Appreciate you too. I mean, this is hard work that you're doing, beautiful work and important work, and I'm just super honored that you reached out.
Hey, man, I love the family man you are. You guys want to come up on here and show the world who is Fan Bambi? You want to?
Yeah, you guys. Yeah, we got the whole crew here tonight.
I mean, you guys have been running the cameras, but it's awesome. This is the fam.
Yeah, this is this is them.
All right.
Frederick, Jenny, and Sydney. I know you can't tell Jenny she's not one of the kids. That's actually she's the short one now.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you guys being behind the camera, and I appreciate.
And they're still working. That's
they still working. Look at the beauty in this. And I appreciate you coming on, and I love what you guys are all doing.
Yeah, it's a team effort for sure, and that's why I reference that.
I love that you have your kids involved through this whole journey, and
well, that's the only way to make these things work. Sometimes, you just got to get people rallied up.
All right, Spearhead out.